Good. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that this is an internal meeting open exclusively to active members of ARRP. As many of you know, ARRP is proud to be a member of the International Communications Consultancy Organization, ICCO, the global voice of public relations and communications industry. ICCO unites national associations from around the world to raise professional standards and to tackle shared challenges across the communications field. One of the key advantages of being part of this global network is access to ICCO's valuable resources, insights, and expertise. Today, we are honored to welcome Mr. Andras Stanislav, CEO of the organization. Before handing over to Alexandra, Vice President of ARRP, who will officially open the session and moderate today's meeting, I'd like to share a piece of exciting news with you. Our youngest members, Ligia Matei and Octavian Kalina, are representing us in the ICCO Next Gen PR World Cup, a competition where junior national PR award winners compete for global recognition. So we're incredibly proud of their achievement and wish them the best luck in this important step in their professional journey. And now, Alexandra, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Viorica, and hello, everyone. We are very pleased to have you all attending this meeting, and starting in time, it's excellent. We have, as already heard, we have an exclusive look at the latest global insights in our industry. It would be presented by Andras. Andras is the interim CEO of ICCO, International Communication Consultancy Organization. We repeat the name so that all of you feel that we are connected to an international and global network of public relations consultancies. And this is a benefit, first of all, in terms of transfer of know-how and how should I say, trends that are currently overwhelming our industry. About Andras, he is a leading professional in strategic communication. He has large experience and expertise, not only in strategic communications, but in global communication. And he is running currently the ICCO as interim CEO. He is based in London. He was very nicely accepting our invitation for this dedicated session. And the idea is to present to all of us the results and insights of the ICCO World PR report done for this year, but also to bring valuable insights from his previous discussions and presentations on this topic. Just one word before giving the floor to Andras. One word about how we organize today's session. It's scheduled as an interactive meeting, not as a conference, especially because we would like to have live discussion on the presentation that Andras will share. And we will have a Q&A session where you will be welcomed and encouraged to raise your own questions so that we can have a lively debate on those trends and discuss in detail. We booked like 20-25 minutes for this Q&A session, and we hope that you will take advantage of Andras' presence and enjoy the session. In order to, when we start the Q&A session, I will kindly ask you to raise your hand via Zoom raise hand, and then you will be invited to ask questions. Now, Andras, welcome to Romania. We have the stage for you on Zoom, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much, and thank you for so many people attending this meeting. I mean, when Viorica, you mentioned that your competitors, the two Romanians, need some luck to win this competition. I think they need some more than luck, but they have performed very well. So we are very proud that Romania has sent candidate and a team of two this year. And I also have to admit to all our existing members and even prospective members that ARRP is one of the most active member of ICCO, which I think gives the power to ICCO as well to represent the industry, because ultimately, as you all described, ICCO is a membership organization mainly representing national PR associations. And if they are active, then we can be more in a service for their members as well, or your members as well. So I think active membership is something which is crucial. And the other thing which I really appreciate is that this meeting is actually a meeting and a conversation. And after sharing a couple of insights from my perspective, what I've seen through global reports, as well as our report, as well as my personal insights, as Alexandro has mentioned. But I'm really curious about your views, your questions, your thoughts at the end, the second half of the session, so that it's not a lecture when someone from London is giving you what's happening in the industry, but it's rather a conversation, which I'm always happy to have. So thanks very much for the invitation. I'll try to share my screen and start my presentation. Can you all see the presentation well?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So first and foremost, still a couple of times I will mention ICCO and what ICCO stands for, and it is, but it's pretty simple to recognize. If you see a green logo in the PR industry, then it's supposed to be ICCO and the International Communication Consultancy Organization. When I talk about what we are doing, is I usually put into three major streams of what ICCO is doing. And the first one are the most visible, we would call them flagship activities. We have a global summit, we have a global awards. We are present in via PR in Cannes program during the Cannes Lions Festival, mid-June. We have a World PR report. We have two competitions for the young practitioners. The one is the PR World Cup, the Next Gen PR World Cup, where this year we have a Romanian team as well. And we have a Future PR, which is tailored for university students studying communication and PR. That's quite an interesting one, because last year we opened it to a global level. And it's not just universities sending out teams of 3 people, but they are nominating people, and we put them into teams, and they need to work together towards a pitching session. So that's also quite interesting, because they have to learn with people from other regions as well. And we tend to have mostly the European forum, which is happening, but we tend to encourage our members in other regions as well to organize one meeting, 1-2-day meeting every single year to focus on regional trends. Since ICCO has predominantly European members, the European Forum is quite popular. We are probably going to have our next year's forum in Paris, but it's not yet decided. So those are the flagship activities. The second list of activities is, I usually call it advocacy work, which has 2 levels. The first level is the strategic partnership level. So we signed a contract with the UNDP, the United Nations Development Program, and we try to work with them to emphasize the importance of public relations when we talk about sustainability and climate change related issues. And the other main strategic partner is the Council of Europe. So whenever it's about media literacy, AI, and freedom of speech, freedom of media topics, then ICCO is a mandatory consultancy partner. So we can have our say among Meta, Alpha, Microsoft, and all these big players. So the next big conference will be in mid-May in Strasbourg, and we will have our vice president there representing the industry. The second level of advocacy work is what we call working groups, which are tailored to specific topics. One is on AI and misinfo, disinfo. One is on ethics. One is on public affairs. One is on healthcare. One is specifically tailored for the next generations, for the new talents. And all our members and the members, i.e. you as agency leaders and agency members, are eligible to join any of those working groups. So we encourage not only our secretariats and the board members, but also the members of all national associations to join these working groups, because they are the ones, these working groups are the ones who are actually producing surveys, analytics, and position papers for all our advocacy work. And last but not least, we try to provide excellent membership services, which means that it's not just providing competition opportunities like the PR World Cup and the Future PR, but also we have introduced peer learning sessions, which means that certain dedicated topics are discussed among national association secretariats. So if you have a specific topic which you are interested in the global market, then you can raise this to ARRP leadership and they can come to us and we can organize a meeting, and all other national associations can help everyone else how they could cope with those challenges from a membership association perspective. Now let's talk about the global PR landscape. And I will start with a couple of reports, which I think it's crucial for the market and it's crucial for the PR industry to understand what's happening, because ultimately PR is really a strategic discipline. So we have to understand what's going on around us, not just within our straight industry. So the first one, which all big PR agency leaders are mentioning, and national association leaders as well, is the World Economic Forum's Global Risk Report. That is a must. So if you're leading an agency and you want to provide strategic consultancy and help and support for your clients, then you have to know what's going on at the global scale. This year, the top 5 global risks are quite interestingly changed compared to previous years, because in previous years, the climate change and sustainability related issues were the key issues. But this year, the state-based armed conflicts and the geoeconomical confrontations were on top 5. So company leaders and also country leaders think that these are the top 5 risks when in terms of challenges which we all have to face. The next one is the Edelman Trust Barometer. It's also very crucial for all of you to understand, although and despite the fact that in some countries and in some capabilities, the Edelman Trust Barometer is challenged in certain way, that Edelman is supporting the PR industry, is supporting the big corporations, i.e. The results are always in favor for the corporate leaders and the CEOs. But in fact, that this report is produced for 25 years now, it's still a crucial understanding of what's going on in the CEO and the corporate communication world. This year, this Edelman Trust Barometer, I've highlighted 3-4 key takeaways. The first one is last year we had elections, but you're having elections now. But it's crucial to understand that the respondents said that despite the fact that there were elections in multiple countries, that did not really and significantly improve trust in certain institutions. And we are not just talking about politics, but about all kinds of industries. So trust is still a very important issue for our industry. The second one, which is linked on this side, which is linked to the fourth one, is that some people think and feel that they don't know whether their leaders, whether it's corporate leaders, country leaders, or leaders of NGOs, are actually telling the truth, which leads to the fourth statement, meaning that the respondents are actually not only seeing it as an opportunity, but requesting business and CEO to act and stand for certain values and issues. So that's a huge opportunity for the PR industry, that we can advise our clients, we can advise the corporate clients that they should stand up and they should set some of the values, some of the basic values of our society. And obviously, the most worrying one is the lack of optimism for the next generation. So people are not necessarily optimistic, and this report was taken before Trump's inauguration. So the uncertainty from that perspective still remains, if not getting even more important. The next one, which I highly recommend you to read and get familiar with if you're not, that's the European Air Communication Monitor that's always put together by UPERA, which is the European Association for Educational Institutions. And they are questioning, they're surveying and having interviews with CCOs. So that's the perspective of the corporate communication leaders. The top 3 challenges they face is geopolitics, how they deal with data and artificial intelligence. And well, interesting to me, the third one is management skills, which means that they would like to learn. So the CCOs, the corporate communication leaders, would like to learn, but they are not necessarily finding their ways, what type of skill they would need to build up or retain, and how they can get that information from. So it's also quite challenging, and the details are obviously in the report. The next one, which I cited here, is just one out of the many, many AI-related reports from the PR industry. But 2 important factors, 2 important statements are in the report, which I think it's very crucial for us to understand and encourage us to take steps, both from association perspective, but also from agency perspective, is that only around 1/3 of the organizations have their own AI policy, meaning that you will see from the Build PR report that the vast majority of the agencies are using artificial intelligence, but it's not necessarily transparent, and they don't necessarily have a policy how they use it, whether internally or externally, how they disclose the use of AI, how they disclose certain data challenges and data security issues as well. So I also think that it's crucial for all of you to understand and follow some of these trends which are happening around the usage of AI in the PR industry. The last one, which I mentioned here, is obviously because it's very close to my heart, because I founded this crowdsourced report. This report is an interesting initiative from 4 Central European countries, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. I invited the association leaders to invite agency leaders and CCOs to talk about the global trends from a local regional perspective. If you think, and it's easy and it's free to download, you can download. If you find it useful, then for next year or the year after, we might extend it to a more Central Eastern European regions, and we can include people from Austria to Romania, Bulgaria as well, because the more we extend these regions, the more visible the results are from a global perspective, because ultimately this focus report of the Central European V4 countries represents around 65 million people. That's equivalent to the UK market. So if we can collect a certain amount and a reasonable amount of people and respondents, then the findings of the reports are visible from a global perspective as well. So these are the trends I wanted to highlight. And now let's talk about the World PR Report, which is ICCO's annual PR report. A disclosure and the disclaimer at the end, at the beginning, immediately. We usually have the questionnaire open during the summertime and early autumn time. This year we had the same. We extended it to the end of October or end of November, and we put together the findings of the report, and we launched the report in March, end of March, early April, a couple of weeks ago. And when on the launch webinar, we invited Paul Holmes to host and moderate the webinar, and his first sentence was that this report is already outdated. Because so many things have happened since then, then the key findings of the reports might be outdated, but we cannot have the report in repeated every single month. So let's see the results which were compiled from last year and the beginning of this year. That's the most important one, is a general overview of the optimism and the hopes of the respondents. The good news is that compared to either Edelman Trust Barometer, the majority of our respondents are optimistic about the growth of the PR market, about the future. Also, that the CEOs are going to take corporate reputation seriously, which means that this is an opportunity for the PR industry to thrive. The expected areas of investment which agency leaders are planning to put into their businesses is focusing on ESG and strategic consulting. and also influencer communication, which I think is quite significantly sets the tone that which are the main topics for the PR consultancy business. Focusing on sustainability and climate change, not necessarily called it as ESG, but in general, because that's a strategic issue. Strategic consulting, which is finding the right way and managing multiple stakeholders. And that's a strategic and consultancy position, not just an implementation of creative campaigns. But at the third place, influencer communications, which is meaning creative storytelling and using different stakeholders and using different channels, is also a crucial element of what agency leaders would like to invest in. What they expect as areas of growth, as you can see, the strategic areas, consulting, corporate reputation, and public affairs have finished at the top. The greatest challenge for the PR firms is, first and by far the two important ones, climates willing to commit enough funds to support communication activities, and not just talking about campaigns, but also about managing reputation and managing multiple stakeholders. And obviously the second place was the economic conditions in general, which is mostly, as far as we could understand, about the perception and about the uncertainty, rather than they are pessimistic about the future. But for all business leaders, certainty is the key issue. So even if the forecast is not looking very well or cloudy, it's still, if you know what's happening, then you can get yourself prepared. Now the challenge is that we don't necessarily know what is going to happen. What are the main skills which agency leaders expect their colleagues to have? Is by far now it's mastery of AI tools, how they're using it, and the second place, the strategic consulting and strategic consultancy have finished. Where do they see that the areas of our industry, the technology, and in a broader sense, not just artificial intelligence, is going to play a role? It's still measurement and content creation and some research and insights. But I will talk about my experience talking to agency leaders. I think that the technology and the tech and artificial intelligence will have a new opportunity for agency leaders as well in the future. AVE, which is something which we always ask, and we are always very afraid of what percentage of answers respondents will say that they're still using artificial intelligence. I'm not proud to say that the 64% of respondents from Eastern Europe said that AVE is still a metric for measuring the impact of the public relations industry. That's pretty sad, but I also understand that it's sometimes not the request of the local players, but the request of international and multinational players, which is quite challenging. So I think that an association like ICCO will have a role to expose this question at the global stage as well, and not only to talk about in a regional or local level. Obviously, the metrics are mostly used for reporting and planning, which is not a surprise. That this one is quite a surprising number. As you can see, in the Middle East and North America, basically everyone is using artificial intelligence in their daily lives. Latin America finished the last, but Eastern Europe, I mean, if you can see the numbers, 2/3, 3/4 of all agency leaders are using artificial intelligence in every single day. So it's like within a year, it has become a daily practice for all practitioners. We asked a couple of questions about industry standards. So the code of conduct is mentioned as very important for Eastern Europe and North America, but it's quite sad to see that it's not in some countries or in some regions. It's not as important as in with others. Where the PR agency leaders see challenges not only as PR firms but also in a broader sense is misinformation. But also it's quite crucial that they say that the agency income to balance with ethical challenges, and also if an agency is not behaving ethically, what are the consequences and what is happening with them, because that sets a tone, that sets a perspective of the broader PR industry. Well, it's not a big it's not a big number, it's not a big figure, then less than half of the respondents say that the industry is more ethical than other industries, but at least Eastern Europe have finished have finished on top of this. This is the same thing. So quite interesting approach of how PR agencies' role and expectations to advise clients if they see that the client is planning to do something unethical or bad. Now, regional updates in a nutshell, because everything is available through, free to download from the document, but I've just highlighted the top areas, the top answers from this region. If you look at the growth potential from an industry perspective, agency leaders from Eastern Europe think that technology, the consumer products, and the healthcare are the main industries which will have the most growth in the future. In terms of what are the key challenges, then you can see that the talent is always an issue, and both in terms of retaining the client, the talent, the existing ones, but also hiring different levels of people. And last but not least, I will list a couple of experiences. It's not backed by any numbers and any figures. It's backed by, as Alexandra has introduced me at the beginning, it's based on the conversations I'm having with mostly London-based, UK-based global agency leaders who I'm in touch with, and I'm having conversations with from all different perspectives. Well, the first and most important ones are digital transformation and AI. And the reason why I said that I will get back to this is because what I see, and it might be an interesting trend for local agency leaders as well. So the big players, the global agencies, are building up their own AI services. So beyond what we have seen from the World PR Report findings, it's not just that they're using artificial intelligence in their daily practice, but also they're building up services and even products to clients, which is driven by artificial intelligence. The figure, which I'm basically having, but it's not representative at all, is that around at the big agencies, around 5 to 15% of the employees are now AI developers. They have nothing to do with public relations. They don't even know what public relations is. I mean, yes, they know because they're part of the team. But what they are doing is they are building up services which PR agencies are providing to clients. And in some agencies, they even go beyond that, and they are building up products so that companies are paying PR agencies for for a PR-driven, artificial intelligence engined product and service. Scenario planning, sentiment analysis in a totally different level, which is in fact producing, at one point will produce revenue for PR agencies outside of traditional PR services. So that's very, very crucial to understand that at the global scale, the global companies will or might be able to turn to PR agencies to get artificial intelligence driven services. That's a huge opportunity for the market. Obviously, the way artificial intelligence is used, whether the employees are educated how to use these different tools, what are the ethical considerations we faced, and I've talked to agency leaders in multiple countries that sometimes they face that despite the fact that they are using certain AI tools officially, some of their members, employees, are using ChatGPT unpaid version in their own phones, feeding up with company data and client data. So it's not only unethical, it has huge cybersecurity and data security issues as well. So I think that it's a huge opportunity, but at the same time, while we are building up services and using the opportunities, we also have to face some of the challenges, and we have to bring our transparency, bring our ethical standards with implementing artificial intelligence in our daily lives. In terms of geopolitical challenges, a shocking experience I had, and I've heard from 2 or 3 big agencies. They tend to provide strategic briefings for their clients every single month, so once a month. Since the inauguration of Trump, they are doing it on a daily basis. So PR agencies are providing daily briefings for their clients, and in some areas, different ones for the US market, for the European market, and for the APAC market. Because as you can see, despite the fact that we are in a global market, the geopolitical issues are so heavily changed from country or region to region that even the corporations will have to find their own ways how they set their agenda and how they manage their narratives in certain countries. Give you an example, DEI. Although in Central and Eastern Europe, it's still not a big issue of diversity and inclusion, but in countries, in companies which are headquartered in Europe, they still want to keep it on top of their agenda, while companies who operate and mainly operate and headquartered in the US, they might have to delete all these DEI policies from their website or from their corporate papers. So that's a huge shift for the PR industry to understand what's going on and how we can support our clients in that way. The fragmentation is another one. It's not just the societal issues that we have multiple generations with different expectations, but also different usage of tools, different narratives. So yes, we can talk about Facebook, we can talk about Meta platform, we can talk about TikTok as main issues. But if you look at LinkedIn, if you look at the different parts of TikToks and how it's used, Discord, Reddit, and all kinds of areas, let alone speaking of artificial intelligence-driven communities and channels, we will have to face that all communication needs to be tailored to more and more target audiences and more channels at the same time, which means that if you, as agency leaders, you will also have to understand all these different channels, because both for mass targeting as well as micro targeting, you have to understand what's going on in the market. And this is going to be challenging and even more challenging. So I think at one point, this is where artificial intelligence must come in to understand what is the narrative, what is the algorithm, what is the actual sentiment in different channels. Because the more channels you're using, it's basically actually any human resource or no human resource will be able to catch up with the fragmentation of the channels and the even the target audiences. The fourth one is the talent, is that team building. So facing all these challenges from the artificial intelligence, geopolitics, and the fragmentation of society, you will need to have as diverse team as possible. And I'm not just talking about race, but also from gender, also from coming from different industries. And that was one of the key findings of the World PR report as well, that the PR industry is very, very poor in requiring or retaining talents from other industries. And as you can see in London, PR agencies are hiring web developers or AI developers, not even from the PR industry. And so you should, I highly recommend, because that's the recommendation from agency leaders, to try to find as much and try to define as much diverse teams as you can, because that's the only way you will be able to find and face all these challenges, to provide multiple adaptations of your general project or your general ideas, to implement a certain campaign in certain different channels to certain different audiences. And I understand that it sounds very, very generic, that, yeah, okay, we know that we have to build a diverse team. But that's the only thing I can recommend, is to literally go through your skill set within your agencies and try to understand whether your employees will cover enough diversity in terms of age, gender, knowledge, industry specifications, channel specifications, so that you would be able to tailor your communication strategies and communication campaigns to your clients' needs in terms of channels and audiences as well. And last but not least, obviously, what can I say from my seat as a industry association? The position of the public relations. I think it's getting more crucial to for us to position the PR in the broader business environment and the societal environment, is because with artificial intelligence, the fake news and the misinfo, disinfo is coming in. We have to face that. We have to take our stand and say that no agency, none of our members are doing anything unethical. There should be consequences if something which we find out is unethical. Let me give you an example. With the UNDP, and that's my last thought on that. With the UNDP Weather Kids campaign, which we did last year, there was a multiple award-winning campaign enrolled in 80 plus countries. It was the core idea was that that kids are taking over weather forecasts in certain channels, and we recorded all these weather reports and weather forecasts and enrolled it to multiple countries. And at one point, an AI agency have approached UNDP that for free, pro bono, they are very happy to help with tailoring the messages to certain countries, basically in all languages, within 1 second, with the use of artificial intelligence. And we had conversations with the UNDP staff, as well as with all activation partners from the ICCO side, whether it's a good idea or not, because it's cheap. You can reach out to as many countries as possible. It's very much tailored, so every children would talk to the language of the local country, while at the same time, if we are accused of fake news using artificial intelligence and using the face of the same kids speaking in multiple languages, what is that? Is that fake news? Is that misinfo, disinfo? And we ended up not taking that choice and not taking this opportunity, because we found out that it might have an effect from a crisis perspective. Last thought on this. I'm not happy to say that public relations is always getting stronger when it's about a crisis, because that's where marketing professionals and no other communication industry leaders and service providers can jump in to help clients. But, and being honest, and Vio and Alexandra said that it's an internal meeting. Well, should we aim for more crisis? Because that's supporting our industry and the importance of our industry, or should we aim for more relaxed and predicted future? I think the future is going to be unpredictable. It's going to be very challenging, which means that the importance of the public relations is getting stronger and stronger. And we not only as practitioners, but especially as associations representing the practitioners, we have to find our way how we can support the ethical practice of this industry. And I think that this is nowadays a challenge, a huge challenge for the industry, and we need all the players. We basically need everyone to face these challenges. So these were my initial thoughts. And now I think back to Alexandra to moderate the questions if there are any, or comments.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Andras. Very insightful. And, you know, it's a lot of food for thought in what you presented here today. And, you know, hearing your insights, I think we are living not only interesting and challenging times, full of opportunities indeed, but there is a transformation happening very, very, very fast. And I do welcome questions from the public, from the audience, and please share them either via the chat and we will read them, or just raise your hand and we will introduce you. And together with Vio, we will make sure that we see all of the hands raised in the air. Now, I'll start with one question, so that to kick off, you know, the Q&A.
It's always the privilege of the moderator. You can always ask the first question.
You know, I'm a bit concerned. To whom are we talking now as professionals, as communicators? Are we talking to humans or to algorithms mainly? Because actually, I think there is this kind of paradigm change in what is going on. And as you mentioned, there are developers that we are hiring. There are crisis management that is strengthening our capacity, and they position us very well as a professional. There are stakeholders relations where we need people and people-to-people approach, let's say. But nevertheless, how do you perceive this transformation? We need to pay attention to all, but to what mostly?
Yeah, a couple of approaches, and I think the first one, which I'm citing in a very interesting study done by Hard Numbers, which is a UK-based data-driven PR agency, at the beginning of this year, and they were interestingly questioned ChatGPT about SEO and how ChatGPT is finding information if it's asked to provide a summary about certain things. And the results, it's very, very interesting study. And the main results, which was kind of shocking to me, that it is becoming a new SEO industry, is how you train your ChatGPT. Because previously, as PR agency leaders, we tend to say that, okay, Google search is the key one. If the Google search is finding us, then we're good. Now, more and more people are asking ChatGPT, and PR professionals need to understand how ChatGPT works. And the key findings was, and it's very, very interesting. I mean, a lot of aspects, but the most important one for me was that ChatGPT is still looking for owned resources first. So artificial intelligence is first always looks for the cheapest. I mean, the easiest to reach solution, which is corporate websites, which means that over the last couple of years, decades, 5-10 years, we thought that now it's earned media, it's shared media, what people talk about us is the key issue. But now ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence tools are actually looking for your own sources. So if you make a due diligence on your website, whether your content is up to date, whether your content supports the messages you want to send out, then it's helpful nowadays. And in certain time, it's going to be more helpful than even Google search and Google SEO means, let alone if they need to sell Chrome. So that's another different story. So I think that at the end of the day, and that's my second answer to your question, at the end of the day, we're always going to talk to people. But the more the people are using artificial intelligence to get their information, the more we need to be aware of how they're getting information and how to feed the algorithms of different channels. Obviously, using artificial intelligence, and that's going to be a way another level of using artificial intelligence. Currently, we are trying to train artificial intelligence. Big PR agencies are trying to build artificial intelligence to help navigate in this fragmented world. But when it comes to the AI agents era, where AI agents are doing a work of multiple people, and even AI agents can work with AI agents. So at one point, your AI agent as an agency senior consultant might talk to your customer's AI agent to find the best resolution or find the best review about certain products and certain services. That case, you have to understand how artificial intelligence works. And that's why I'm saying that using artificial intelligence in a daily practice is a mandatory thing now, because it's going to change from time to time very, very quickly. And we have to understand how the algorithms works. But ultimately, I think that AI, even in the next 5 years, is still not going to replace us. It's going to be a co-pilot. It's Microsoft product, but going to be the co-pilot, a junior assistant If we train them well, then they are going to be very helpful for us understanding what's happening around us and coming up with draft. But I still don't see any sign that at the strategic level, at the very high level, then humans can be replaced by artificial intelligence by far. And our industry is using tools to send out the message. Our industry will always remain human to human interaction. We're just using different tools for that, as our audience is using different tools for that.
Yeah. Thank you for your answer and additional insights. And in a world where ethics, it's sometimes thought only when it's how should I say, it's to my benefit, not as a standard thing.
Yeah,
It's very important.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the transparency, the education and the transparency are the two keywords for the next, I would say, 1-2 years. And that will be, I think that will be the biggest challenge for the PR industry of using artificial intelligence, whether we can educate both our clients as well as our employees how to use artificial intelligence from data security as well as ethical perspectives. That's on one end. And on the other end, whether we are transparent of how we are using that. In some agencies, it's now mandatory with client pitches and also campaigns to disclose what if a percentage of the usage of artificial intelligence, that's the EU legislation which is coming in about the use of artificial intelligence, and that will have a massive effect on the media market as well, is that if the final products, more than 50% of the products is produced by artificial intelligence, that they have to disclose. Some agencies are disclosing it in a lower level or in a very general level that artificial intelligence was used to this. Obviously, we are not going to see it in advertisements and billboards or TV ads, but at least internally, the transparent use of artificial intelligence is crucial.
And this, Andras, links us to one of the first questions in the chat from Cristina Todarash. If you'd like to ask it live, you are welcomed. Please unmute your mic, because I think Andras already started to respond to your question. Will we be an industry that use AI to create, and the public will use AI to read, consume our messages? Is there a limit? You just mentioned the 50%.
Yeah, he just mentioned.
Yeah, I think I'm not very up to date, but I know that the EU is working on a legislation where it's mandatory for advertisers and also media outlets to disclose the usage of artificial intelligence if the production was 50% or more.
This in terms of content, but nevertheless, we have the other side of, let's say, ethical issues, where you have fake accounts, stuff like this, again, boosted by the new digital technologies and everything.
Well,
alter the...
Yes. People from the market don't necessarily understand why it's important to have membership associations, but this is exactly the reasons why trade bodies and membership organizations must exist, because even with ICCO 2 years ago, at the end of 2023, in Warsaw, where we had our summit and the board meeting, we accepted, it's called Warsaw Principles, is the very general guidelines of how to use artificial intelligence. It's available on our website, on our ICCO website, as Warsaw Principles. But I think from time to time, we have to update this, and based on the experience of good and bad usage of certain tools and areas, we have to extend it. And obviously, that's the role and responsibility of PR associations as well, and membership trade bodies as well, to try to find the ways and highlight where the artificial intelligence is used in a good way, and also highlight and give a spotlight if artificial intelligence is used in unethical ways as well.
Yes. Please, if there are other questions or comments. Yes, extremely useful and eye-opening, says Adina Palea. Thank you for the session. Indeed, Andras, I might say that it's one of the sessions when people are entering. I mean, we have a higher audience than we started, and everyone
Yeah.
stayed because indeed, eyes opening.
Yeah. Yeah, very glad. But I mean, feel free to ask questions, but not only to ask questions. If you have any comments on what you have seen as good or bad practice of either using artificial intelligence or any other trends, I'm very happy to have this and hear your views. Because then at the next meeting and the next presentations I'm having, I can speak about the Romanian perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to make a comment. In several years, probably everything we will read will not be true, since the content will be drafted by artificial intelligence. This is quite challenging to increase the critical thinking in society to face this situation. Even nowadays, people are following a site or a channel supported by a bot, as Alexandra said, not by a human being, which a bot which spreads misinformation or fake news, and people are keen on believe all pieces of information and give their vote to a totally unknown candidate. Romania experienced such a situation in previous presidential elections.
Yeah.
So, from my point of view, the most important for us and the role of PR professionals is also to increase this critical thinking in society. And probably it is a bridge between education curricula in universities or postgraduate programs, and probably we should give more attention or to put a pressure in order to amend current university curricula in order to help future PR professionals to deal with situations like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are like uh, two ways. One is the two comments on that. One is I see artificial intelligence as a very personal view, as like a fourth big change in my life. The first one was the internet, when a technology provided a solution which is beyond what human to human relations could achieve. The next one was the smartphones, where again a phone which was used to phone only have provided accessibility to certain information, to certain interaction, etc., etc. And that technology has changed the society as well. The next one, the third one, was the social media. And I think the fourth one is the artificial intelligence, when a technological term will change society. And we have to be aware. So the ones which are older than me, as you can see, my hair is already gray, then I can look back how the PR industry, but as well as the overall society, from companies to governments to NGOs and not-for-profits, and the general society, coped with these challenges. And we must learn from those previous challenges, because I think the shift is basically the same, is that something technological solution has significantly changed the way we interact with people. And we have to learn from previous experience how we can educate ourselves as well, and train ourselves. But I think that despite PR has a massive role, because we are communicators, but the challenge of artificial intelligence is much broader than just the PR industry. So I think that our responsibility, and I tend to say that, and 5-10 years ago when it was CSR and ESG kind of thing, I always said that as a strategic advisor, working for national PR associations and global PR associations as well, that we have 4 layers of responsibility. The first one is the individual layer. What are we doing as people? The second layer, as we work for PR agencies, what are we doing at our agencies? Are we following all the ethical standards and the guidelines within our agencies and how we do our work as PR agencies? The next level is that we as communicators, we as PR agencies and consultants, we help brands to talk to the broader audiences, whether it's B2B or B2C. And that is another layer, another level of responsibility of providing ethical service for those clients. And even as you could see in some of the findings, we have our responsibility to tell our clients if we face that they're planning to do something unethical. And at the 4th level, that's obviously on the Maslow's pyramid hierarchy of needs, is the association level. What can you do to an industry? Well, how can you support what an industry is doing? And I think both local associations and organizations and ICCO at the global stage, we have that kind of responsibility to look at what's going on in the market and try to support the market from an even higher perspective and approach.
Meaningful.
Yeah.
Again, a question from Christina,
yeah.
who says, I understand that there will still be need of talent in agency, but will AI replace juniors?
As it's a funny and a challenging one at the same time. Yes, always, everyone has to start as juniors someplace. I think that the reason why I think it's a very, very good question, because that takes a responsibility for the senior leaders of the agencies, because obviously the tasks what a junior professionals are doing might be replaced by artificial intelligence. But the experience, the use of artificial intelligence is something the juniors will have to learn as well, because they will not learn. I mean, without artificial intelligence, you don't know how to use artificial intelligence. So you have to learn how to use it. And you, media and senior level agency leaders, you will have to teach the next, we will all have to teach the next generation of the ethical use of artificial intelligence, how they can utilize, how they can learn what's going on in the market better. Because let's give you an example. Juniors were used to do media clippings. Now it's done. But because even 5 or 6 juniors would not be able to screen as many media outlets as the artificial intelligence is doing by, just in a second. But if you teach the juniors how to read the insights and what is the additional value a human can bring into that process, that's where the juniors will be needed. And that's where they need to understand the whole process and how to utilize different tools rather than just replacing them, because they will ultimately be seniors at one point, and it's our responsibility as seniors to teach them that they become very ethical senior and media level practitioners.
Thank you, Andras, and thank you for all those practical insights and advices. It's much appreciated, and it's the kind of interaction that we aim to have more often for our members in such sessions, because we believe the value of the association and the raise of the industry could be done through such, how should I say, movements, because there are, we are thinking and seeing exactly what do you face either in London, in Hungary, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, US, and so on. And yes, it was a wonderful occasion to have you with us. And we hope to do another session, because I'm pretty sure that those topics that you raised were, putting us to think more on the future, because indeed, challenging times. A conclusion in the end from you.
Yes, yeah. Thanks very much for inviting, and feel free to, invite me, anyone else from ICCO, but also anyone from this group. If you're interested or getting in touch with me, then you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm very happy to continue all of these conversations.
We will. Thank you, and thank you everyone for participating. And we will be in touch for the future agenda of ARRP.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
all of you.